I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 239, Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA. Released in 1998, this game was developed by Atari Games and published by Midway. We played San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing all the way back at game 41, so it's been quite a while. That one was decently fun, and it was ridiculously difficult. Hopefully they changed the way difficulty works in this one. I definitely remember going off jumps and just being in the air for ages in that game. The crashing was quite unforgiving too, with you just literally blowing up. It's definitely a more interesting racing game on this console, so I have high hopes for this one. Will the sequel be an upgrade or a downgrade? Guess there's only one way to find out. Let's get into it. Why the heck do they describe toggling rumble pack on or off as sensitive or insensitive? Such a strange choice of words. Is it going to make fun of how bad I drive if I set it to insensitive? The main single player mode seems to be the circuit, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. The first race was Los Angeles. Interesting that smog is turned all the way down. I figure it would be all the way up here. Haha. Yeah, there's that difficulty slider. It better not get cranked up and become impossible like in the last game. The only setting I was actually able to change was turning deaths on or off. I remember having to use those to beat the first game. Dang, there are actually so many vehicles here. You've got the pickup, compact, muscle car, mobster, sedan, bandit, coupe, exotic, van, sportster, subcompact, concept, hatchback, cruiser, stallion, and the 4x4. They all had different stats in acceleration, top speed, control, and drifting. Everyone wanted me to be the van, so that's what I did. You could change two colors of the vehicle, as well as set the tires and even the rims on them. Feels like I'm playing Pimp My Ride now. I also had the ability to change the engine, torque, suspension, and tires. I wasn't sure how these would affect my actual racing, so I left them on the default for now. Well, here we go into our first race. Man, this van looks so stupid. I kinda love it. Like a peanut butter and jelly van. Oh geez, here's the first jump. Yep, sure looks like they still want you going airborne a lot in this game. Depending on which direction you're facing when you go in the air, you're just stuck there till you land. It's pretty sketchy. Also, what the heck? There are just ads everywhere. Nintendo Power, I see the Expert Gamer, Electronic Gaming Monthly. There are even ads for a bunch of other Midway games like California Speed and Gauntlet Legends. They really were shameless here, huh? Wait, is that Mountain Dew? Yeah, they were all in. I have no idea how I didn't crash here. I definitely would have blown up in the last game, but yeah, we have to do 3 laps here in Los Angeles. Hopefully I get first, but this van sure wasn't going very fast. Don't really know what I expected. No idea what happened to Red on the mini-map. They're like half the track behind all of us. Sometimes you don't land so gracefully, or maybe that was the most graceful landing possible. Looking like Peppy out there telling me to do a barrel roll. I noticed a coned off area to the left on the last lap. Maybe it's a secret? I know the first game had all kinds of places you could explore during races. For the most part, this track felt quite linear. Finally, my damage was too high and I exploded. If I had turned deaths on, I would have just instantly lost the race right there. The CPUs can also die too, so it can be beneficiary. I finished the race in 3rd place, not too shabby. Dang, that took nearly 9 minutes though. What a long race. Couldn't help but notice after finishing, it said 1 race finished, 27 to go. Wow, this may take a minute. Decided to swap to the concept for the next race because the van felt like it sucked. This track is Alcatraz, except it's both backward and mirrored. They did that in the last game too. Good way to get some reuse out of tracks. Why are all those other cars slowing down? Oh, yeah, that might be it. Well, at least I got that key. Those are around to unlock new vehicles. There's a button that just lets you respawn onto the track. It seems a bit overpowered, but you lose all your speed when you do it, so it winds up being slower. Okay, this seems a bit unfair. That wall wasn't drawn in until I was already in the air. How was I supposed to know it would be there? Oh, whoops. I forgot to slow down again. Seems there's an invisible wall, so that's good. I feel like if I could master that jump, it'd give me such a big advantage. And come on! That other guy just rams into me and blows me up? That's not even my fault. I thought this thing to the left was a secret path, but nope, another wall that didn't draw itself until it was too late. Does Alcatraz normally have a big highway running through it like this? I feel like the island isn't all that big, you know? I wound up in 4th place, not the greatest. I was in 3rd place overall behind Jose E and the Bulls 6. These are some really weird names actually. Smart.jpg? What kind of name is that? I still wasn't sure what tires or engine or anything to select. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the manual scan from archive.org to load on that day. However, looking at it while writing this, it doesn't explain what any of those do anyway. The next race was Los Angeles again, but this time it was mirrored. Well, this certainly doesn't look like a shortcut, but it had a key hidden inside. If you're doing poorly in a race, you can just pause and restart it, which is nice. Maybe I had a bad tire selection, or this car is just harder? My car just randomly lost traction there. That's kind of rough. These 90-degree turns were killing me too. No matter how much I braked, I just couldn't take them well at all. I started to wonder if just intentionally slamming into the wall, then using the respawn button would be faster for me. I mean, it was certainly doing okay right here. It just teleports you through the walls and everything. I could get used to this. Yet another 3rd place finish? Man, I feel like this isn't going to be good enough. I have to hope the points don't get weighted to a single person or I'm screwed. I decided I'd try starting over, this time with deaths toggled on. The first race was at Las Vegas. The big skull and crossbones at the top let you know it's for real. Also, I swapped to the hatchback to see if it'd do any better. It had really good control stats. Maybe that control stat isn't as good as I thought. If you flip over, it's a guaranteed explosion and that's the end. Oh no, this wall that just appears instantly in Alcatraz is going to be so problematic with deaths turned on. I still wasn't sure if I wanted them on or off ultimately. I got bumped off the road and what on earth? Am I going through a loop? There's no way this would work in real life, right? Why is there a 4-lane road going straight through the prison cells themselves? I'm starting to think this isn't a one-to-one model of the real Alcatraz. Oh no, that giant jump! That thing is terrifying with deaths on. Still not doing so hot. I remember from the first game that what most people told me were shortcuts either actually were slower or they were so dangerous that it wasn't even worth trying them. Seems like things haven't really changed here. That's like Kaizo driving, what the heck. Still struggling severely, but I did get a 2nd place finish. I couldn't help but notice the difficulty shot up after that race, just like in the first game. It's so annoying. With that in mind, it definitely felt like Death's On was gonna be the play. So here's the first instance of the CPU just screwing up and crashing. Now I'm guaranteed to get 7th place or better. As the difficulty ramps up, the CPU cars get faster and they're more likely to crash like that. However, it's a double-edged sword. If I make any big mistakes, my race is instantly over as well. Here I would have finished in 7th since I was the 2nd person to die. Oh snap, 1st place racer just blew up out of nowhere. Oh yeah, I figure I should mention this track is New York. We're basically just driving through Manhattan, I suppose. No way the streets would be this clear there. I would never want to drive in that place. And there we go, getting 1st place for the first time after only an hour and 40 minutes. Sheesh. Here we are at Hawaii, except it's backward and not mirrored. This one is mostly straight lines with a few big turns at the ends of the track. I went with the van here, but I'm not sure why. I was saying I wanted more top speed with there being fewer turns, but the van has one of the lowest speed stats. What was this guy thinking? Really? That tree is what blew me up? It has a single pixel of width. Thankfully, you can still restart even after you've died. You ever tell your Uber driver you're in a hurry and they're like, "Don't worry, I know a shortcut." And then you end up driving through a construction zone? Well, just don't ever get in the peanut butter and jelly van and you'll be fine. Man, Death's On is so rough though. It's hard to memorize these tracks too. Right now it's backward. Next time it might not be. And all the stuff I'm learning won't apply. Then later it may be mirrored, so all my visual cues will be wrong. This is gonna be tough. Man, at the very end of lap 3 and I pull this nonsense. Unbelievable. I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and audio. The graphics are kinda bad, I'd say, but it's not really a big deal. Graphically, it looks very similar to the first game, maybe a bit higher quality on the textures. The game runs well though, which is more important for sure. One thing I don't like that seems to be in all these midway racing titles is their radar. At least this has a mini-map on the right, but I just find that thing so bland looking. For the audio, it's still got the same guy doing the countdown at the start. I imagine that's ingrained in a lot of people's memories. The music's pretty decent. The first game had a super weird soundtrack, and it seems this one was mostly themed around techno. Not as good as something like Extreme G or Wipeout 64, but the music's good enough in this game. I swear, it took like an hour to get through this track without crashing. Mostly because I would lose focus at that one spot and keep blowing up, but it's done. I guess. Third place will have to do. Now we're at Las Vegas, neither mirrored nor backward. Right at the start, there's a cave off to the right. Just a little key in here. I feel like this isn't a shortcut though. At best, it's the same speed as the normal path. What? Why is there a giant wall that says danger? I don't remember seeing that when I was on the strip. And are we just driving directly through a casino? These tracks are wild. Oh shoot, is that the Vegas loop? Nah, of course it's not. It's connected to the rest of the road and we're actually moving. I was surprised though. This race was going incredibly well. Like it wasn't hard to drive at all. I got first place in only like 3 attempts on this one. Very welcome after the last 2 taking me like an hour apiece. We're back in New York, both backward and mirrored, except this time the fog meter was cranked up. This is absurd. They just cut the draw distance down and call it fog. I mean, I guess a lot of people called that fog back in the day anyway. Wait, I'm just now realizing that it was called smog instead of fog for the Los Angeles track? Okay, that's pretty funny. Man, I was in second this entire time, then I get into first at the very last second. You'll love to see it. After 4 races, I was ahead of Cecil C by 4 points. Man, it does seem like there's going to be like a rival racer who does the best in every race. Whoa, there goes my tire. It seriously feels so good to land those things mid-race. This is just Hawaii again. And here's the advantage of playing with deaths on. 2 people blew up on that turn. Not to mention, it's some of the faster cars considering they were ahead of me. I need Cecil C to blow up though. There is actually no way that red car didn't explode. It just bounced off of me. That was balderdash. Unfathomable. No idea what happened here. The peanut butter jelly van is just too tanky to blow up, I guess? Thought that was a guaranteed explosion. Finally, I had a run where lots of people were blowing up. I was especially proud of ramming this guy off the side of the road. Too bad I also blew up immediately after. Didn't matter. One of those people who blew up was Cecil C, so I'm in first place by even more now. Got 3rd place on Los Angeles. I was really worried about not being in first at the end of all this. Cecil C was only behind by 1 point now. In mirrored New York now, and I figured I'd try using the cruiser. I still had some hope that the issue was the vehicle I was using, rather than my own skill level. Maybe there is a reason I was never blowing up with the van. What the heck, man? That guy murdered me. Why are we driving straight into City Hall or some museum or whatever that is? Those cones will surely keep it safe. Guess we're driving through Central Park, too. Cars are banned there nowadays. This is the kind of god run you want with deaths turned on. Ramming this guy while the guy behind me also blew up caused all the other CPUs to run into their crashed cars. In the first game, they would kind of follow a set path, and it seems this one is no different. So now it's literally just me and 1 other car left. At worst, I get 2nd place. Of course, I didn't take this as a sign to slowly go through the track and crashed shortly after. Whatever, still got 2nd, ahead of Cecil C by 11 now. Okay, an actual new track. We're on Seattle, but both backward and mirrored. This wall here at the start is probably gonna blow me up several times. Now this is some classic San Francisco Rush gameplay. Just going off the street so fast that you stay in the air forever. Feels like there's less of that in this game, but this track felt closer to one from the first game. Oh shoot, the red car slowed down for the turn and I blasted it into the wall. You love to see it. I actually wonder if the Burnout devs were influenced by playing this game back in the day. First place? Heck yeah. Cecil is quaking in his boots. I was ahead by 22 now. However, the difficulty slider was surely getting high at this point. Thank goodness those trees don't have any collision. We're on New York, backward, and not mirrored, by the way. Well, a lot of people died, and so did I. But 4th place? I'll take it. As long as I'm in first in points, that's all that matters. Oh, it would have been so cool if I had landed that. Unfortunate. This is Alcatraz mirrored and not backward. Oh wow, this one is actually way different when it's normal. We have to drive on the roof here? It's probably a big challenge to design tracks that work both forward and backward, so kudos to the devs for making that a smooth experience. One thing I haven't mentioned is this still behaves like an arcade racer. You have a timer and have to pass through checkpoints to increase it. In the last game, when the difficulty would eventually reach very hard, I struggled to finish races due to this. It seems the same is happening here as well. Unfortunately, I hit a crashed car on the roof, taking 5th place. And of course, Cecil got first, so I was only ahead by 4 points now. At least the difficulty should go down again. Backward on Hawaii, and I'm screwing up bad. The tracks feel both the exact same and completely different at the same time. It's a really weird feeling. I thought I had a big brain play here taking out Cecil, but I blew up too. Yeah, now I was in 2nd place. Uh-oh. Don't think that's the right way, buddy. Where you going? Here, the guy in first just crashed all on his own. Since the racers follow a set path, they drove directly into his crashed car, causing a chain reaction that made every single one of them blow up. I was the only car left. Now this is my kind of race. Easy first place by blowing myself up. You'll love to see it. Ahead of Cecil by 5 now. I swear, this entire thing was planned. You can't prove I got lucky there. There's no way. I had been trying to ram Cecil into this sign at the start for a good 20 minutes or so. Finally, I got what I wanted. It's so hard to get them to deviate from the path they want to take, but man, it feels good when you do. Well, shoot. You'd think I'd learn to be careful after I took him out. Whatever. I'm still ahead. And this should make the difficulty drop. Other times, though, they just cheat. That car clearly crashed, but it let it respawn anyway. Why is it doing that? I don't know what happened here. Someone crashed ahead of me, and now there's a 6-car pileup. Cecil was definitely in that pile, though. Nice, another first place. Ahead of Cecil by 14 points now. Although, Ned is only 16 points behind. Could Ned become our new rival? Apparently going into the water also counts as a death. My timer just instantly went to 0. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I shouldn't have landed that, but oh well, I died anyway. Again, a huge pileup, not due to anything I did. Every single CPU just crashed into it. Another guaranteed first place. That's so good when it happens. Ahead of Cecil by 19 points now. I was feeling pretty good with just 13 races to go. I kept this 7th place here because I killed Cecil at the very start. And yeah, now Cecil has fallen to 3rd place. This is so good. Then an easy first place on Las Vegas. I didn't even have to crash anyone this time, just a pure racing win. However, the difficulty was now maxed out. And yeah, I was barely getting to the first couple of checkpoints anyway. Let's just take the L here and get the difficulty back down. Still ahead of Ned by 16 and Cecil by 25. Alright, 3rd, not bad. I think the fact that I understand this game better this time is helping me a lot. Like sure, they're catching up to me in points, but I know the difficulty is going to go down the worse I do, thus making the game easier. It's a balancing act of not letting yourself get too ahead without letting them ever pass you. Cecil had fallen all the way to 4th now, but Ned was hot on our tail. We've got ourselves a new rival. Just 8 races to go. I was bloodthirsty. I just wanted to hit Ned. So much so that I would crash myself to try it. Probably should make sure I hit him too at least. Finally though, I got him. He kept wanting to go right, but no sir. You're going into that wall. This is so good. The difficulty was on hard currently, so if I'm too careful to not crash, I'll probably just get last anyway. And yeah, there it is. These races are so long that it's way too hard to not have mistakes for that long. I'll take 6th place, ahead of Ned by 11 points. These CPU roadblocks will never get old. They just blindly follow each other into the crash of the previous one. Freest win of my life. Well, that's one way to handle a race bumped up to very hard. You know what? I'll take 6th out of that mess. Just 2 races to go and I was ahead of Ned by 26 points. I think it's over. For the final race, it started me on this weird bridge in New York. Is this supposed to be the Brooklyn Bridge? I don't know. I got 4th in that final race, but it was enough for first place in points. It shows these very high quality balloons floating up while it shows clips of you racing on each of the tracks to celebrate. Oh, I just realized during this there is both a New York Uptown and New York Downtown. That makes sense because if there's 4 of each track, that would only be 24 races, but that makes the 7th, so there's 28. Midway course? What? I never got to race there. What is this place? I want to drive through their office. Oh, look, I guess I did unlock it for beating the game. Not only that, I unlocked a rocket to drive as. Surely this will be safe with death toggled on, right? They've got all these arcade games in their office. No wonder Midway wound up going bankrupt. Is this some kind of server room? Well, that was kinda neat. There were a few other tracks unlocked too. This one is just called Crash. Probably designed to be the most likely for cars to run into each other. Explosions are always fun. There's this tunnel you drive through and the game does not like being in here at all. Jankiest thing ever. But it's cool that it's here. If you hit it at just the right angle, you can get caught in the infinite. That's only incredibly disorienting. Of course, can't forget Half Pipe. It's a half pipe. This one is quite basic, but I guess if you like walls you can drive on, then this is your track, because that's the whole thing. Alright, here it is. The big one. The one so many people mentioned to me, and probably what a lot of you watching remember about this game. The stunt track. There was a secret stunt area in the first game, which I had no idea even existed until I published my video on it. People were sad I didn't show it off, so I made sure to come here in this game. Essentially, it's a huge open area with several ramps for you to launch yourself off of. Being in the air is definitely the most fun part of this physics engine, so it makes sense they wanted to maximize that with a place like this. If you actually manage to survive one of these huge jumps, you get a score for things like being in the air a long time, doing flips or rolls, stuff like that. I wanted to go off this big jump, but I ran out of time. Why is there even a timer in this place at all? Man, whoa, why is there a spike pit up here? That's quite dangerous to just have lying around. Oh, just let me hit this dang ramp. I went with too much speed that time. Alright, here we go. The big jump. A perfect 360 spin, but dang. This rocket car is awful. It just explodes at the lightest touch. Stupid rocket. I can definitely see how people had a lot of fun here though. Especially if you were like playing with friends, trying to match each other's big stunts. There was a very large cheats menu in this game. Certainly a contender for the game with the most cheat codes on the N64. This list is monumental. Alright, I turned a bunch of stuff on. Let's see what happens. Yeah, this is unplayable. I don't really know what I expected, to be honest. Well, I certainly didn't expect to fly out of bounds and just fall into the abyss. Maybe one of those cheats turned off invisible walls. But yeah, that's about all there is for this one. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it. My journey to beating Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA. This game was pretty neat. I definitely think I enjoyed it more than the first one. The tracks seemed to flow a lot better and they were easier to follow. It's still just as fun to fly through the air and it feels really good to land safely after a huge blunder. I still wish they didn't adjust the difficulty while you were playing and instead just made the CPUs drive in a better way. However, it is kind of hilarious watching them all just drive into the exact spot someone crashed because they're not allowed to deviate from their path. It's a tough game, but I think because I learned from my mistakes in the first game and it didn't really change the way it worked, I got through this one easier? Or maybe it really is just an easier game. I don't know. Solid music, it doesn't look that great, but it's fun. Probably worth looking into, especially if you played it back in the day. I gave Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA a 7 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 6.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We had a randomized marble race to determine which game was next, so here's how that played out. Or skip to the timestamp on screen to skip straight to the game selection. Alright, let's go to these community maps. Alright, we'll play this. It's got a pretty low fail rate. Alright, we got Shadowgate 64. We got Dobutsu no Mori. We got Morita Shogi 64. Could be any of them. Let's see what it is. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, they are off down the scary hole. What is down the hole? We got a ton of marbles coming through. A lot of pegs here. Somebody's getting launched. I think that's Star Fox in the lead currently. Star Fox 64 is out in front. 64 Ozumo. I think that's sumo wrestling. Oh, Star Fox nearly making the one cycle, but doesn't quite make it. Turok falls off the cliff. And we're coming up these little pusher thingy dudes, and we got a maze here. Who's going to get through the maze quickly? And it is Star Fox. Despite not making the early cycle, Star Fox 64 is barely in the lead. The next Gex game, neck and neck. It's Star Fox and Gex 64. Here come the rest of the marbles. Star Fox and Gex 64 into the tourney thing and coming down the funnel. It's Star Fox and Gex. Which one's going to get pushed? Star Fox getting held up a bit. Gex 64 is coming ahead. Oh, and it is the next Gex game. Gex 64. Almost Star Fox, but not quite. This is the first Gex game. There are 2 on the console. Alrighty, the next Gex game, which is Gex 64. It has been decided. But yeah, if you're still here watching, you're awesome. Thank you, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, or maybe even drop a subscription to the channel. Or you could even click one of these other videos that are on screen right now. And yeah, see you next time.